This is not a pond. This is not a still lake. What I'm in, it used to be a road.
Another letter was sent out, but when it arrived at the new address, Erdman wasn't living there. That's a violation of his parole. The business was broken into by a bolt cutter. The lock clipped right off. Breaking news tonight, we're told a Milwaukee police squad car has been involved in an accident. They're not familiar with the man at the center of this standoff and tell us he has no criminal record. I've referred to this in the past as the Jeremy Ross wind measurer thingamajiggy 6000. Certainly not high tech, but it demonstrates the kind of wind we're seeing out here. All the parties are pretty much on the same page. I'm apparently making lots of friends out here. Thanks, man. We're live at Summerfest. Jeremy Ross, Fox 6 News. A house of worship is now for the moment being called a crime scene. The only people for the most part going in and out are investigators. Heavily armed officers gather outside the scene of a multiple shooting that took place inside and outside of Oak Creek's Sikh Temple of Wisconsin. Law enforcement received multiple 911 calls around 10:25 Sunday morning. Police say a 20-year veteran of the Oak Creek Police Department exchanged fire with a shooter. The officer was struck multiple times and the gunman later died from another officer's fire. Flight for Life took to the air and family members gathered on the ground, desperately trying to contact loved ones who could be inside.
I called on his phone. That somebody else answered the phone that he got shot.
Somebody just called me from inside. My kids are inside.
Some were contacted by panicked relatives inside the temple, hiding in a pantry or closet, warning worshippers about the violence.
Yeah, they called us. They called us not to come into Gurdwara, not to come to church.
At least 10 were shot, 7 were killed, including the shooter. As dozens watch and wait and hope their loved ones can make it through this terrible scene.
He's crying, you know, he's in a lot of pain, but I don't know where he got shot, but he got shot.
Because there are no criminal charges involved in this matter, we are not naming the officer this evening. He resigned more than 2 months ago, but we're just starting to learn more details into exactly what happened and who's involved.
The text came late at night.
They were messages between two adults.
He started sending me texts about like what he would like to do to me.
But it's who sent lewd messages.
I just felt sick to my stomach. I was just like...
Shocking. One woman.
I just couldn't believe that it was happening.
And forcing a Greenfield police officer to resign.
I had asked them, I was like, do you need my contact information? They said they already had it.
Joanne Fagan says August 21st, she was questioned during an investigation. She says one of the officers acted very professional, one did not.
And later on that night, I got another text from an unknown number, and he said that this is Officer so-and-so, and this is my private number if you need anything.
In a news release, Greenfield police say the two began exchanging consensual text messages in the hours that would follow. Fagan does not describe the messages as mutual, claiming there were 2 inappropriate images sent and more than a dozen lewd messages.
He said he wanted to, you know, have sex with me. He just kept going and kept going and kept going, and then eventually sent me pictures of his private. I really can't say anything else without being inappropriate.
Police say they were tipped off about the conduct and took immediate action. The officer with less than 6 years of experience was suspended 2 days later and resigned September 7th.
Part of me is relieved because, you know, he can't abuse his power anymore and he can't do this to somebody else. I think that the rest of the police officers in Greenfield, I think that they're fine. They're very professional in everything they do. I've never had any issues with them before.
I was walking home from Summerfest.
July 6th of last year, a UWM student and his then-girlfriend were approached from behind near the intersection of Holton and Center.
By a man in a mask asking for my wallet. I was kind of in shock at the time, just said, "What?"
Police reports say the man grabbed the pocket of Sam Took.
I was a victim in an attempted robbery, and I mean, when it happened, obviously, I was scared.
Took says the man saw a squad car and ran off, disappearing into a neighboring yard. The case would reappear in headlines more than a year later. The suspect was 22-year-old Derek Williams, seen taking some of his final breaths inside a Milwaukee police squad car. His gasps for help ignored by officers believing he was faking. He later died from complications from sickle cell. The manner of death, once called natural causes, was recently changed to homicide by medical examiners.
Seeing the video, I mean, it was sickening really watching it. I mean, it's just sad, really.
Until the police video was released, Took never got a glimpse of what happened after Williams ran off. He says he appreciates the quick police response preventing the robbery.
At the end of the day, they could have possibly saved my life.
While Took is called a victim in the police report, he offers sympathy for the man accused of trying to rob him, labeled a suspect.
He was definitely a victim too. I think watching what I saw, it seems that he needed help and he didn't get it. So I think he would be a victim also.
In an exclusive interview, Milwaukee Police Chief Ed Flynn told Fox 6 his officers should have responded more quickly to Williams' health concerns. He added police procedures have already been changed following the reopening of this case. Tonight's big story at 9, a Mount Pleasant motorcycle crash sends 2 to the hospital. 13-year-old boy killed in front of his house is laid to rest. Friends and family packed the All-People Lutheran Church in Milwaukee to say goodbye to Darius Simmons. Investigators say Simmons was approached by his 75-year-old neighbor, John Spooner. Spooner accused the teen of stealing, then shot him. Attorney General Eric Holder appointed 2 U.S. attorneys to investigate recent national security leaks. You Decide coverage now. Tuesday's losses still stinging, but Wisconsin Democrats say they are ready for the next round. The state party's convention continued today in Appleton. Fox 6's A.J. Bayatpour talked to delegates who say they've already shaken off the recall results. But with Greece near financial collapse, the stakes are higher and the temperatures are running hotter. Watch as verbal jabs become physical ones. If you wonder when chivalry died, I present Exhibit A.
That was a woman!
Yes, he hit a woman. Translated, he called the woman an old, quote, commie, and she called him, quote, a criminal. This was on live morning television in Athens. The guy who went on the attack, by the way, facing assault charges.
Good. That gets hot.
Now, granted, Washington, D.C. basically on a swamp, so you get the high humidity out there, so it can be a pretty hot place to be hanging around in.
Listen to this weather guy, Justin.
Oh, no, I'm not taking that gig.
You don't even need me. I'm just going to go take off.
That's that, guys. No, please come back. Please come back. I can't even say dew points with a straight face on the air.